Welcome to our introduction to the Resilience in the Americas program, what we call RITA. This video will briefly present what we understand resilience to mean in this program, so that we can then explain how we expect to measure our progress. I'll present the theoretical model underlying the RITA program. The RITA baseline is based on the IFRC study on the characteristics of resilient communities, developed in partnership with the Arup Consultancy Group. This model identifies 6 characteristics that a community must possess to be considered resilient. A safe and resilient community is knowledgeable and healthy. It is organized. It has the capacity to identify problems, establish priorities, and act. It has infrastructure and services. It has economic opportunities, and it can manage its natural assets. Finally, a safe and resilient community is connected. It has relationships with external actors who provide a wider supportive environment and supply goods and services when needed. As you can see, for the purposes of the RITA program, these 6 characteristics are grouped according to the primary target of Red Cross interventions. The knowledge and healthy behaviors target individuals and their household, the first point. The following 4 points target the way in which a community organizes itself to address its challenges. And the last characteristic targets external partners and how we can involve them. These 3 groupings are the main entry point of the RITA program, and therefore define what our baseline will be looking at. At an individual level, we want individuals who are knowledgeable in the different sectors of importance in their given environment. In this graph, we're representing 3 such sectors of particular relevance to the Red Cross, but keep in mind that there may be others. For RITA, the emphasis was placed on disaster risk reduction, DRR, and water, sanitation, and hygiene, WASH, as those were the topics identified as most important in our community assessments. Though health concerns were identified as important in some of the communities, the sector is not included in the baseline analysis. We then examined the community organization. A key objective of RITA is that the communities, to be considered resilient, must be able to take action on their own. This component is examined in the baseline from 2 angles. Firstly, the community residents must feel they are part of the community. The elements for a more cohesive community include trust and reciprocity, sense of community, civic participation, and social support. In RITA, we want to be able to determine how cohesive a community is to get a sense as to its ability to address problems on its own in the event of an emergency. Now, once we have a community that communicates, that feels a sense of belonging and capacity to work together, we want to be able to determine its capacity to get things done. This is known in academic research as collective efficacy. What we want to be able to determine is the capacity of the community to agree on the way forward, mobilize resources to achieve what it agreed on, act effectively, and learn from its mistakes. In our resilience model, the hypothesis is that once the community has achieved this increased cohesion and collective efficacy, it then has the ability to take measures as a group to address challenges around the access to services and infrastructure, the management of the natural resources, and accessing economic opportunities, the 3 other of those community-level characteristics. Finally, a community is not an island, and although it must be able to take on the first immediate steps on its own, it has to be able to tap into external resources. This is the connectedness component of the IFRC resilience characteristics. Does the community have relationships with external actors, government, NGOs, or other communities to provide a wider supportive environment? The resulting structure that we get in our baseline combines different tools. I spoke earlier of the specific tools in DR and WASH, aiming to build individual knowledge. This slide makes reference to the household survey that we will use to measure household level resilience, known as CART, and it gives us a sense of the changes in the factors that contribute to resilience: cohesion, collective efficacy, resources, disaster management. On the right, this slide makes reference to a focus group discussion with key community leaders. It is based on a World Bank questionnaire that was simplified for our purpose here, and is known as SOCAT. It looks at infrastructure and access to services, access to education, whether there are schools, access to healthcare, whether there are clinics, environmental issues, and economic opportunities, and again, community cohesion and connectedness within that community. Through these 2 tools, CART at household level and the simplified SOCAT survey at the community committee or leadership level, we aim to get a more comprehensive understanding of the changes in the community. This slide presents a summary of the RITA resilience baseline. As you can see, two of the components are sectorial, specifically WASH and DR, and here we'll examine the individual behavior change through household surveys and the overall organizational capacity of our DR and WASH committees through the focus group discussions. We'll also look at the overall resilience of the community as measured at household level through the CARD survey and at community level through the simplified SOCAT focus group discussion. At the end of the day, the project team uses one household survey with all three components, the DR, WASH, and resilience, and then carries out the three focus group discussions with the DR committee, the WASH committee, and the community leadership on the resilience components. In our next video, we will present how the baseline data is analyzed.